Remi Piet is a director at America's Market Intelligence, a business advice organization. He joins me now from Miami. So let's start with Cuba-China ties and that business forum between Cuba and China's Zhejiang province. We heard some of the examples, but what do you think is the potential there for both sides?
I mean, there's interesting potential, and what's interesting is also to see that this doesn't happen only between both capital, Beijing and La Habana, but also that there's a move from individual regions in China to develop specific needs towards the economy and securing some strong input for their both populations and industry at a time when we're seeing China and the US engage into commercial warfare. So here you give in from the perspective of China, you're seeing Beijing and the provinces securing potential imports that would be very important for the economy.
And we know that China is no stranger to all the countries south of the United States. Bolivian President Evo Morales is in Beijing. This is actually his fourth visit to China since he took office. Both sides signed several agreements from culture to infrastructure. How would you describe their relationship?
Well, it's an intensifying relationship, and China wants to see the relation with Bolivia as a kind of a showcase scenario to display to other countries in Latin America, so the example to follow. And both sides actually have a lot to win here. For China, they need to secure access to raw material that are essential for the industry, and Bolivia is the country that actually possesses very large resources, especially in lithium. In case of Bolivia and Evo Morales needs to be able to show very strong results in the economy because it's facing a complicated bid for re-election next year. And this agreement that will show an increase of exports in meat, soybeans, quinoa, other different products will actually be able for him to display good results in the economy and gain the support from the population at a time where his own popularity is kind of decreasing inside the country.
Right. We also know he was pushing coffee there in China. Talk about China's significance in the region. It's already the largest trading partner for many countries in Latin America. We know that the Dominican Republic established diplomatic ties recently. Panama last year. How important is China to Latin America?
Well, it's always been important, not only in the last decades. There's a long history of collaboration between China and Latin America. But obviously, as the Trump administration turns its back to Latin America, it has become an even stronger partner. In the case of Bolivia, it's interesting to see that Bolivia is going to be chairing CELAC next year, which is the organization that gathers all countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. So intensifying relationship with Bolivia is a key strategy from Beijing to create more relations with different countries in Latin America and the Caribbean, a region where you have a large, sizable amount of countries that still recognizes Taiwan as opposed to other regions in the world. So it definitely has both economic and political interest from Beijing to clearly intensify relation with the region. Now, the next step will be to see if the industries and companies from China are able to develop business, let's say, sustainably, and we've seen in the recent past series of issues of corruption or lack of knowledge of different countries that have led to uprising among the population. So it's very important for Chinese companies to not only serve on these trade agreements, but also learn of how to operate and invest in each of the countries.
All right, Remi Piet in Miami. Always great to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Pleasure.